All right, we are YouTube live. Hopefully the tape won't cut off today. I did figure out the memory card situation, so it shouldn't. All right, I'm gonna start the clock so I know where I'm at. Okay, so request for shoulders was heard. Anything else?
Lower back.
Low back. Okay. So we haven't laid down in a while. Somebody requested the large red ball a while ago.
That was me.
2,
Oh,
3,
yeah, that's
4,
right.
5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5. I only have 5. Oh, sorry, not today, next time. Just a little teaser. Okay, so let's set up for the small red ball. We'll start laying. Lots of spine and shoulders. Good. You can read this 2 or 3 classes ago. Alright, so you will need a band. Somebody asked before. Make sure you got your band. And then bring your little 2-pound balls next to you, so that when you're laying, you'll be able to reach them. And bring your band next to you. Same thing, so that when you're laying down, you'll be able to reach them. Okay, and then you're going to sit behind your bolster. Ball right up against your low back. Also do the stretch for the front and sides of the neck that we ended the last class with, and the tape got cut off. Make sure you get out of that the right way. Keeping it against your low back to start, kind of lodge it in there. Lean back, don't lay over your block back. Bring your tailbone under a little bit. Okay. Push your bolster forward. Keep your feet on the ground though, so the bolster's not in your way. Okay, I want you to pick your hips up. Put your weight in the bolster. Roll forward a little bit. Let's actually move the specific way the ball. Let's move the bolster out of the way to start. Just going to play with a little bit of movement on the ball first. Okay. So your hips are in the air a little bit. I want you to roll forward by bending the legs. Pull your hips to your heels. Don't squeeze your glutes, let them go. Feel like your knees are a little apart. Heels, pull them out apart. Roll back so the ball is just under your ribs. Let your hips drop. Lay your head back. Let's get rid of the block too. We'll go to that setup in a minute. Keep it nearby. Lay your head back over the ball. Let the ribs open. You should not feel low back. Here to bring it up, bring your serratus or your shoulders into the shoulder girdle. Serratus engaged. Bring your head up. Shin in, round up. Once you're up, slide the shoulder blades forward. Elbows reach forward and up. Shin in and back. Low belly in. Pick up the hips by pushing into feet. Don't squeeze your glutes. Let that go. Roll forward by bending your knees. Keep the glutes released. Bring it back. Your glutes should be soft. Hips touch the ground. Lay back over the ball. Let your ribs open. Okay. Shoulder blades come down into the ball. Pick just your head up first. Once the head is up, level with the ribs. Pull your ribs in. Slide shoulder blades forward. Elbows will reach up. Your shoulder blades should spread off the back of the ribs. You should feel serratus, the little muscles in the side of the rib cage. Then press through feet. Low belly draws. Keep the hips on the ground. Push your tail under by pulling your low belly down to the floor. And then pick hips up just by pressing into feet. Bend your knees to come forward. Don't squeeze glutes. Let your glutes go. Good. Put your hips down as close to the heels as you can. Good. And then bring your head further forward. Let your back release. Bring heels a little wider. Try to drop knees toward each other and reach the knees forward. Sink low belly back. Now that makes a little space in front of the hips. Should also help release your low back. Good. See if you can press into feet. Reach your knees forward past the feet as much as possible without laying the head down. Reach knees forward out of the hips. And then bring your low back to the ground again. Release the hips. Okay, let's try that again. Knees come into each other, heels apart. Low belly draws back to bring your low back to the mat a little bit. Press into your feet, reach the knees forward. Don't lean upper body back. Make that length come out of the transverse abs between ribs and pelvis. And then bring it back down, release your glutes. Let it go. And square your feet back off. Roll up your ball again until the ball's under the ribs. Hips come back down. Keep your low belly drawing the low back to the mat. Pelvic bowl dropping back without crunching the ribs so all the abs stick up. There's no room that way to drop the pelvic bowl back. A little pressure in the feet is enough to roll the tailbone under. You're literally rolling on that round part of your tailbone and then roll back forward again. Do that again, just supporting the head with the hands from your serratus. Roll the pelvic bowl back, keep the ribs open, and then roll it forward. Good, how are we doing with that? Roll the pelvic bowl back, don't close your ribs, and then roll it forward. Good. Roll pelvic bowl back. It shouldn't take a big push. Roll it forward. Last one. Roll pelvic bowl back, hold. Keeping that rolled back, lay back over the ball, let the ribs open. So you've got an upper back bend with your low back a little round. Good, everybody looks good. Bring the elbows in, shoulders down, bring just your head up first, feel that low belly. Good, once your head comes up, now roll pubic bone forward so that the low back is no longer rounded. Do it again, roll pelvic bowl back with ribs open. Then lay back over the ball, let your ribs open more. Good. Bring it head back up, ribs stay open until head is up. Then you start closing ribs, but you shift the pubic bone forward, getting rid of the round in the low back. So now when we're going to round upper back, the low back is long, or maybe even a touch arch, not much. Okay? So each one's doing the opposite. If your lumbar spine is rounded, your upper spine, your thoracic spine is going to back bend. If your thoracic spine starts to round, your lumbar spine is going to go forward and back bend. We're separating the two, okay? With me? Here we go. Try it again. Little pressure in your feet. The balls of the feet and the heels equally. Pushing the mat forward to help you sink low belly back. Ribs stay open. Lay back over the ball. Keep your low belly pulling back like that. Then bring your serratus down the side of the body to bring your head up. When your ribs start dropping in, you start rolling forward with your hips. Keep it going forward. Good. Do it again. Low pressure in feet, low belly coming back, ribs open. Lay back over your ball. Shoulder blades dig into your ball. Keep shoulder blades down the ball. Good. Then bring the head back up from serratus, the muscles in the side. You engage a little bit, bring the shoulder blades down the side of the ribs. Then pubic bone forward as ribs drop in. Keep the head coming forward without tucking pubic bone to you. No gym abs. That just creates a little wall of muscle that you can't get past. So keep pubic bone forward as you round the upper body more. Bring your chin into that notch in the collarbone, between the two collarbones where your sternum is. Slide your elbows forward, shoulder blades wrap around the sides of the ribs more. Keep pulling head forward into a stretch softly. Don't kill yourself. Okay. Then see if you can let ribs open a little bit, dropping the neck back. Then roll low belly back, little pressure in feet. And then drop the upper body back again. Ribs open a little deeper. Okay, this time we're going to put the top of the head on the ground. If you can't reach the ground, put a block there. Use your hands. Guide the crown of the head to the mat. Your chin is going to point back to where the wall meets the ceiling behind you. Interlace your fingers. Make a little yoga gun. If you want to let your legs come down, you can, but if you keep them up, they can control the hips for you. And drop your arms back. Reach through the thumbs with your yoga gun. The more you reach, the more the shoulder blades slide up the side, the more the ribs should be able to open. Then you can use your feet to direct pelvic bowl back, tailbone a little under. Okay, start bringing the arms up from the serratus, from underneath, from under the armpit. As my arms drop forward, my voice is going to strain. As my neck gets stretched to the front and sides, your chin is going to reach back to where the wall meets the ceiling. Think of that bottom jaw sliding past the top jaw. Stretching here. Bring your arms back. Reach through the thumbs again. You should feel nothing in your low back. Your feet have the job and your low belly have the job of keeping that round. Do it again. Bring the arms up. Slide bottom chin past top. I'm not going to top, it hurts. Drop your arms forward. Bring it up. Now use the hands to come out of this. Do not use the muscles in the head to bring your head up, or in the neck. Use your hands to bring your head up, and then interlace them. Shoulder blades come down into your red ball. Keep bringing the head up. Let your pubic bone go forward as your ribs drop in. That should feel like a pretty decent stretch in the neck, the throat, the front. Keep letting your chin drop into where you just stretched. Slide the shoulder blades forward. Push into the feet to lift hips, but keep your back loose. Low belly sinks, ribs stay open. Same as when we're trying to drop the pelvic bowl back. Then bend the knees to slide forward. Keep your low back that loose. Put your low back into the mat. Roll the pubic bone forward once you touch down. Hips stay down. And then bring your head further forward. Stretching the thoracic spine. Slide shoulder blades forward. Release your low back. Release your hips. Breathe. You'll toe your feet apart, about as wide as the mat. Keeping your head forward and tailbone under. Drop the right knee in and across. The right hip reaching forward, and then lay back over the red ball a little bit. The neck should be able to be resting on the ball if your head drops back far enough. Reach that right hip further forward. Okay, go ahead and use your serratus. Bring your head back up. As your ribs drop down, the hip stays forward, and you'll deepen the stretch. Left knee comes in, low belly on the right side, pulls your right hip back up. Good, adjust where you are on the ball if you lost it. Okay, the left knee goes in and down, the left hip reaches forward. Go ahead and lay back over your ball. You can even reach arms back if you want to open the ribs more. Hips reaching forward. Good. Bring your hands back to head if you took them away. Bring just your head up by using serratus. Don't let your hips shorten to you. Use serratus to drop ribs in and down, keeping the hip long. Keep your right knee in a little bit too. That'll deepen the stretch. Slowly bring it back up. Okay, nothing in the low back, maybe some space, nothing painful. Okay, let's do it again. Come a little higher up your red ball, so your red ball's under your shoulder blades more now. So when you drop your head back, your head can touch the floor, or maybe your spine's not that flexible, but that's where you're at. Okay, here we go. Bring your feet in a little tighter if you want a bigger stretch, a little further away if you don't want to stretch the feet. Okay, drop the right knee forward and in, reach the hip forward. Bring your ribs a little bit to the right on your red ball, like you're trying to roll the ball right a little bit. Keep reaching the hip forward. Okay, then just drop the right arm back. You can lay the head back a little bit, but keep your left hand supporting it. Reach through that whole right side. Okay, use your right serratus to drag the arm back up to the ceiling, and then bring your head up. Drop the ribs in and down. Good, bring it back up. Feel that deepen the stretch a little bit. Okay, shifting to the other side, drop your left knee forward, and more than knee, think of the hip going forward, pelvic roll away from ribs. Okay, keep your right knee in, don't let it run away. Bring your left arm up, reach it back. You can lay the head back so it's the back of the neck's parallel to the ground. Slide that left shoulder blade up the side of the rib, reach the left hip forward. Think of shortening your right hip a little bit, pulling that right sitting bone up on the mat to you to reach your left hip further. Then use your serratus from under the armpit, from under the arm, pulling up. Once the arm comes up, bring the head up too, dropping the ribs in, but keep the hip forward, and bring it back up, let right knee pulling in. Good. How are we doing? Yeah? Alright, good. A little different. Go ahead and roll up on your ball, grab the rest of your setup now. So you're going to put your block at the top of the mat. Front should already be pretty warmed up. Nobody's hurting? Getting us? Yeah? Good. Yeah. Okay. Block up against the low back to start. Take it just a half roll back so lumbar spine gets to be free and the back of the ribs are on the ball. Block a little further back or a little bit back so that your block is right where your hairline is. You want to be able to drop your chin in quite a bit so that you can really feel like you're dropping your neck back and down to the floor long. Then make sure bolster is far enough away from you so it's not touching the pelvic floor, and then bring legs over it. So in our ceiling views here, just be a little triangle of space between the bolster and your pelvic floor. Okay, grab your purple balls. Hopefully they're still within reach. You just got that all set up. Okay, bring one ball into each hand. Arms out to the sides. Make sure the block is enough under the head that you can really push the chin down, but it's not so far back that you feel like you're going to lose it. So right at the hairline works for me. Alright, keep your palms facing the ceiling, balls resting in the hand, shoulders rolling back. Low belly sinks. Now you don't have the feet to push so much here, but you can still sink the low belly a little bit, bringing more of the lumbar spine toward the ball. Definitely not rolling the tailbone back and pulling with the low back. Let that go. Bring your arms off the mat by an inch or so. Keep the ribs open. Feel your shoulder blades pull together onto the spine. Then reach through your hands, spread the shoulders out, hands reaching out to the sides of the room. Hands are up by your ears. Don't let them cheek forward. That's what most people want to do in order to use hips and low back. Bring shoulder blades together on the spine, ribs open, chin down. Reach the shoulder blades apart. Really spread fingers. If the weight is too much, don't use balls. Just use nothing. Just use hands. Shoulder blades slide together. Elbows can bend a little. And then slide shoulder blades apart. Keeping shoulder blades apart. Slowly bring hands up, bring balls up. Feel ribs open more as the radius engaged. Feel the bicep, chest, all the way up. Hands will eventually have to close on the ball so don't drop them on you. Once the balls are all the way together right above your forehead, slide the shoulder blades up, back of the ribs into the ball. Don't contract the low back. Inner spiral the legs so the knees face the ceiling, and find just quads. The quads just straighten the legs, so we'll just pick your lower leg up in line with the upper leg. Don't squeeze your glutes. Then draw your low belly in a little. Slide shoulder blades as high as you can. Pull the upper ribs, back of the ribs into the ball, and pick your hips up without using glutes at all, just by dropping ribs down deeper. The low belly draws longer. Don't squeeze your glutes. No glute squeeze. Let the hips hang a little. Slowly take the arms back behind you. Let your ribs open a little bit. Keep the back of the head really heavy in your block. Chin down. And pull back up from ribs. Pull your ribs into the ball. We don't usually do that. Drop the ribs down heavy. Don't let the glutes release though. That doesn't take the flex. When arms are up, slide shoulder blades up. And let your hips release all the way down to the ground. Everything from the waist down releasing. Legs roll open. Good. And you should feel a little more of your spine come to the ball there. Start opening the arms out to the sides. The low back, in other words, coming back to the ball. Feel the chest, the shoulders, biceps a little bit. Okay. Then start rolling your shoulder blades together or overhead by bringing your hands along the floor together behind you. Feel that rolling through the shoulder blades as you get there. If you lift up and over, you won't feel it. Okay, keep the arms wide. If the weight of the balls is too much, get rid of them. Okay, now you're going to roll back out to the sides. Palms start facing the ceiling as your arms come out to the sides. If you stay low with your hands, you'll feel the shoulder blades. Everybody get rid of your balls, leave them right there, try without the ball. Maybe you weren't keeping the hands low because it's too much of a stretch to roll through the joint. Back of the hands into the mat. Start sliding the arms up on the mat. Go as far as you can, and then keeping hands heavy, rolling the shoulder blades in and down. You'll feel the shoulder blade nearest the cervical spine has to roll back. Okay. And then open the arms out to the side. Think of elbows as leading. Keep the elbows heavy. Do it again. Bring the arms back. Try to graze elbows along the mat for as long as you can. Then start bringing elbows toward each other as you roll through the joint. Okay. Then bring elbows out to the sides, chin staying down. Elbows to the mat as early as you can. You guys feel that rotation through the shoulder joint? A little different, right? Okay, let's grab both balls again if you want the weight. If you don't want the weight added to your stretch, don't use it. If you feel like you're locked up when you have the weight, definitely don't use it. Bring the arms up. Slide the shoulder blades off the back. Feel the shoulder blades slide. At the bottom of the shoulder blades, way down near the floating ribs, and at the top of the shoulder blades by the cervical spine. That whole fan, kind of two fans facing in toward the spine, those slide up off the back of the ribs. Okay, release the hips, don't let them help. Start dropping the balls forward. Outer spiral arms so palms face the ceiling. Keep reaching the shoulder blades forward. When the hands go low enough, your arms will squish your chest or your pecs. Think of Mula Bandha, a little bit of Kegel exercise, lifting pelvic floor, pulling member up into the core of the body. Bring your head up slowly, don't tuck your hips. Keep your ribs back into your red ball and hips forward. Slide shoulder blades forward, opening those fans off the spine, then pull the fans into each other. Slide shoulder blades forward again, keep your neck long, you don't shrug the chin, the shoulders to the ear, slide shoulders back. Okay, bring your hands out to the side, palms facing the ceiling, bend your elbows in towards your red ball. Shoulder blades come down into the red ball, trying to prop your spine up, longer and taller. Good. Okay, bring the arms out to the sides. You're going to feel some work in the arms. Roll so the balls face down. You got to squeeze them now. Good. Bring it in. Back of the hands are going to start to face in. Inner spiral in the arms. Slide your shoulder blades off the back. How's that not sliding your shoulder? Get the back of your hands to face in more time. Yep, there you go. From the shoulder. Okay, think of your collarbone coming up to the ceiling more. That's it. Rounding the back more. Hold. Slide the shoulders back a little like that. Then slide them forward. Think of your collarbone hollowing up, rounding, chin in. And then outer spiral in the arms. Open out to the side. Now roll shoulders back. That should feel a lot easier in this shape. Good. And then lay back slowly. Let your ribs open. Keep your low belly a little. And head to the block. Good. How are we doing? Yeah, no worries. You're going to one of your balls. Keep
like that point in my shoulder when I got my hand out here.
It's getting squished.
Right, really hurts up here.
Yeah, did you do it without the weight bearing?
I tried, I can't keep it down even without because it
Because right there is where you're gonna rotate through it and bring it up. Now,
rotate this way.
Now reach further through take it back, straight back, reach further through your elbow and the thumb side of the hand. Good, feel that spread the shoulder blade off the back a little more?
Yeah,
Yeah, does it feel like it released a bit more?
that hurts more.
That hurts more. Alright, we'll play with it after class. Alright, go ahead and hold on to the ball, one ball. Shoulder hands at the base of the ball, fingers facing out. Let your shoulders drop down, chin in. Your shoulders should actually fall into that space between red ball and the block. How does that feel on it? Does that release it?
It's okay.
Dropping down? Okay, and then sliding up. How does that feel?
It's okay.
Okay. So it has to do with the rotation. It's the
Uh,
rotation. Okay, drop the shoulders down again. Then slide back up. There's the radius. Okay, drop shoulders down one more time. Hold. Little bit of rotation. Elbows come in so your biceps face you. Don't squeeze the chest though. It's just a rotation through the glenohumeral joint. It's just a bicep rolling your face back. Then slowly take your arms back, trying to keep that rotation. Not too tight. Let the upper arms drop back behind the level of the head. Elbow points are to the ceiling. Reach through the thumb side of the hand more. That should slide your shoulder blades up the sides. Inhale. As you exhale, pull up from underneath, from the serratus. Shoulder blades wrapping around the ribs as you pull up. Good. Once you're all the way up, slide shoulder blades up, outer spiral in the arms. Feel like your hands are pulling the ball apart from the back of the shoulders. Like back of the shoulders, you're trying to spread. Shoulder blades stay down, or shoulder blades stay up, off the back. Drop your arms forward. Feel your collarbone hollow. Your collarbone actually rolls up to the ceiling, shoulders rounding up, like you're making a half pipe in your chest. Okay, then bring just your head up. Keep the collarbone high. If you're looking at our ceiling mirrors, you should actually see it coming up off the chest. Good. Outer spiral arms more, reaching forward. That should stretch that spot if you really get the reach. Keep your chin in, breathe. Now keep the shoulder blades high as you slide the shoulders back. Good, and then bring it back forward again. Keep the collarbone lifted away from ribs, keep hips released, slide back. And then slide forward again. Good, you're starting to feel that movement even through the collarbone area. That's what you need now. You need a lot. One more time. Slide back. Collarbone rolls back over the ribs. And then slide forward. Now keep it forward. Bring it up a little bit so that it's just to the top of your eye view without looking up. Slide shoulder blades back. When you come up, I want you to feel the collarbone come up too. Chest releasing. Reach up. Suck the belly down. Good. Slide shoulder blades back. And slide up straight to where the wall meets the ceiling in front of you. Suck the belly down, keep pubic bone forward. Feel the middle back heavy in your ball. Slide it back. Last one, really drawing up. Now try to inner spiral arms here a little bit. So your elbows will face out, biceps face in. Good, reach a little further, opening the back of the shoulder more. Good, bring your arms lower, keeping that reach should open the back of the shoulder more. Good job. And then go ahead and slide your shoulders back, way back over your ball. Get rid of your purple ball. How are you doing? Yeah? Alright, go ahead and grab your strap, get rid of your block. Does the inner spiral, when you reach with the inner spiral, does that release it at all? So spiral, so the back of the hand stays?
Yeah, none of that bothers it. I guess it feels good. It probably releases. It's all this behind and
Yeah.
above
Right.
rotating up
Which
here.
has to do with the rotation as you reach, yeah. Okay. Alright. Strap on the hips. Maybe bring your bolster a couple inches forward and have your hips a couple inches forward to get the support up higher on the ribs. Okay, if you know you've got a weaker core or you're tight in your shoulders and upper back, definitely move the ball up the ribs a little bit more. Okay, if you're super loose in shoulders, then you may very well have a weak core, and again, move this up. Alright, go ahead and hold on to your strap. You're going to try to hold the strap about mat width apart as a starting point, possibly wider. We want to roll all the way through the shoulders, so just check it out first. You're going to slide your shoulder blades forward off the back. The low belly, you cannot tuck hips when you do this, or you're just done. You've fused your hips and your ribs and you're done. Slide the shoulder blades forward. When your arms come up, you keep the shoulder blades coming up the sides of the ribs. You keep your necks free from the shoulder blades. Then you're gonna drop the arms back, keeping the head forward, rolling all the way through the shoulders until they can roll forward when your hands are on the ground. Then you're gonna roll back again and bring it up. If you start laying your head back, your neck's gonna get really tense and work a lot, and this gets ridiculous. And now all you're doing is working those little tiny muscles we stretched earlier, and they were all loose and happy, so don't do that. All right, here we go. Hold on to your strap. So this is core, but you've got to differentiate your core. You can't just flex everything because your shoulders won't move, right? Slide shoulder blades forward. Keep your low belly sucking out of the hips, but keep your pubic bone a little forward. When your arms come up, you need to feel your shoulder blades slide up and your collarbone slide up and get free. Then keep your chin in as you roll your shoulders back. Roll all the way through the joint until hands touch the ground, pinky side touches the ground. Roll your shoulders forward. It'll prop you up higher, chin in more. Roll your shoulders back, bring the arms back up. How are we doing with that? This is gonna hurt you.
You want the hands wide enough so you can take it all the way back.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you narrow your hands, you may get stuck. And if you have to do anything funny to get through your range of motion, no,
Bad.
not it.
Okay.
Widen it.
Okay.
Okay? If-
Yeah,
you
no, I
can't-
could.
I have to do mine very wide.
Very wide, yeah, your shoulders are tight. If you need to do it without the strap, because you're that tight, you can do it without the strap and just roll through, roll shoulders forward, roll shoulders back, and bring it back up, and you can still do the same work without using the strap. Let's just do one more so we don't hang out in the necks for too long here. Slide the shoulder, and if you feel like it's easy, choke in, make it more narrow, right? Okay, slide shoulder blades forward. Keep your hips forward, keep it going forward, I should say, low belly pulling back, that opposition. Bring the arms up, sliding shoulder blades off the back. Keep your chin in, don't tuck hips. As you take the arms back, pull out on your strap a little. Roll through your joint. When pinky side of the hand touches the ground, roll the shoulders forward. Good, feel how that helps you drop your low belly back more. Now keep that when you roll shoulders back, that's the challenge. And bring it back up. Good, all right, go ahead and hit the spine of your head. Relieving the neck from its work. Okay. Softly pull the strap forward on the head. Slide your elbows forward, away from your ribs, like you're sliding the shoulder blades down the side of the ribs, then release your hips. Keep your pubic bone forward. Stretching the neck here by pulling. It's almost like you wrap this around the base of the skull and you're pulling the top of the head forward. At the same time, your chin drops back into that little crux between the collarbones. Slowly drop back. Keep that opposition of chin back, neck back. Back of the neck really long as you lay over your bone. Keep your back of your shoulder open by reaching elbows up a little bit. Let your ribs open. And then just come back up. Serratus pull down. Shoulder blades come down the body. Head's coming forward. Let your hips release as you come forward. Really pulling the head forward but dropping chin back. No tucking. Let your hips release. The pubic bones forward. Feel that stretch in the upper back and neck. Okay. Very softly turn your chin towards your left collarbone and shoulder. Bring it back to the middle. Turn your chin toward your right collarbone and shoulder. Feel that neck stretch move. Bring it back to the middle. Okay, go ahead and lay back last one. Elbows reach up. Your forearms should be parallel to each other. Elbows in, hands staying wide. Good. Pull the neck long here. Bring it back up from serratus. Head comes all the way forward. As your ribs drop in, your pubic bone stays forward. They all come to each other. Stretching the back of the neck. Good. And let the strap go. You should feel the arms there too. Strap is by you. Go ahead and bring your feet to the bolster. Push it forward. Feet all the way to the edges. Hop your hips forward until the ball is right behind your shoulder blades. Hands under the head, interlace the fingers, and think about squeezing the base of the hand in, like you're clamping in on the head. Fingers almost feel like they want to pull apart. Okay. Staying there, let the knees drop open. Okay. Elbows in a little bit so you can see them, not squeezing so your chest closes and the front of the shoulder closes. Keep it soft right where bicep meets the chest too. Don't let that get tight. That'll also fuse the front of the shoulder, the joint here in the collarbone. This has to be able to move where collarbone meets the sternum. So if your chest is tight, pecs are pulled in, that's going to be stuck, and now your shoulder blades can't move because the collarbone attaches to the shoulder girdle, right? So keep your chest soft. It's just in the sides. It's serratus. Back of the shoulders are open, front of the shoulders are open as your serratus come around. Then drop the shoulder blades down into the ball, not back into the neck, and down into the ball. When you lay back, let your ribs open. Actually disengage your serratus, reaching elbows back to open the ribs more. Then put a little pressure in feet to roll your pelvic bowl back toward the floor without closing ribs. You have to actively keep ribs open. Then roll the pubic bone forward. Do it again. Low belly draws, little pressure in feet, roll pelvic bowl back. Then roll it forward. Let the knees open, don't tighten in front of the hips. Little pressure in feet, roll pelvic bowl back. Keep elbows reaching back so ribs are open. Then roll it forward. 2 more. Keep elbows reaching, keep ribs open when you roll hips back. And then forward. Last one, roll back. And then forward. Keeping it forward, low belly draws across, knees wide. Slowly pull head up from serratus. You're going to round upper back, so you're going to keep that pubic bone forward. Don't let the lumbar spine round. Keep bringing your head forward till the upper back rounds. Your low back is still long, lumbar spine long. Feel your low belly spread across between the front of the hips, between the pelvic bowl. Okay, do it again. Start dropping back, chin back, neck back, shoulder blades into your red ball. Ribs open. Once you're all the way back, reach the elbows back. Opening ribs more. Then little pressure in feet, roll the belly back. And then roll forward. Don't let the ribs close when you do that. Roll low belly back. Roll forward. Last one, pushing the feet, roll back. Roll pubic bone all the way forward. Keep it there. Find low belly. Use serratus coming down the body into the red ball to bring the head up. Push the head. The serratus are like your pivot point. Once your head's up high enough, the weight of the head's going to start dropping the back ribs down, rounding your thoracic spine. Keep the pubic bone forward when that happens, and you'll feel your hips start to open more. Soften your glutes. Keep dropping the head in. And once your head's all the way forward, slide shoulder blades forward, elbows reach forward. Suck your middle abs back toward the red ball, pubic bone still forward. Then bring the legs in. Good. You're going to start to feel some space in that low back, a little different. All right, go ahead and roll forward till the ball is behind the upper back, or you can even lay the neck on it. Okay? If you want to be done with holding your head up, go ahead and do that. If you want to use the head, and be a little bit deeper, you can bring your hands to your head, keep the head forward. If you're going to lay on the ball, elbows out to the sides, palms face down, forearms parallel to the side of the mat. Okay? Wherever you're at. Okay, if your elbows are on the floor, you're going to push into the head a little, pick ribs up. It's a real easy lift. Move ribs over to the right, bring them back down. If your hands are behind the head, similar, just move ribs to the right, bring them back down. Okay, if your hands are behind the head, you're going to bring right elbow to the floor. Your hands are already down, elbows there. Lean into the right elbow more with ribs. Take the right knee across to the left, reaching the hip forward. Okay, if you're not already dropped back over your ball, drop back over the ball. Open the ribs, reach your hip further forward. You should feel like your left low belly is pulling your left hip up a little to reach your right hip more forward. Now go ahead and bring the head back up. If you have your hand on your head, drop the ribs into the mat. Just deepens the stretch. Okay, roll the knee back up. Okay, move your ribs to the other side. If hands are down, you just push the head, move ribs left. If hands are up, you just move ribs left. Okay, bring your left arm to the floor. If it's not already. Take that left outer foot. Lift your outer foot as you drop your knee forward. You don't want your foot's trying to stay down while the knee drops in, then you're resisting yourself, fighting yourself. Lift the outer foot as you drop that knee in and across. Keep your right knee in, don't let it fall away. Drop the head back. Let the ribs open. Think of your right low belly coming up, like your right sitting bone's trying to grab the mat and pull up, or left, right back of it. Left hip's reaching forward. Because God, that deepens the stretch, sends one hip forward. Okay? If you have your hand under your head, you can bring the head up, or you can bring hands to the head and bring the head up. Ribs drop deeper. Hip releasing more. Drop the head back. If it's up, roll the leg back up. Good. All right. Everybody come to the point where your head's on the ball if you weren't already there. Okay. You can either do basically the same stretch, or you can go deeper. Next level is going to be to hold on to the top of the foot, cover the toes. I'll do it with my left foot first. Let's do left foot first so you can see it. Try to cover the toes so that when you do bring your foot back into the quad stretch, hip stretch, your toes don't cramp. See, a lot of people hold on to the foot and then the toes feel like they have to try to curl under really hard. The muscle in the foot gets mad and starts cramping as soon as your foot gets back there. So try to get your hand all the way to your toes, cover them, and pull the foot back behind you. Your bolster should be far enough forward that the knee is on it, but you've got room to drop the knee forward. Good? Okay. If you can't get your foot pinned back and you want to go a little deeper, you can put your foot diagonally next to the bolster. Drop the knee forward and work on turning your toes to face back. Okay? If you can get the foot back, go there. Okay. All right. Go ahead and bring your ribs over to the left a little bit more. And then drop the right knee open. The weight of the right leg pushes the left hip up a little bit, which deepens the stretch in the front of the hip. As long as you don't tighten your glutes and try to marry the hips to each other, you'll be all set. Now roll your shoulders a little forward, sink your low belly a little deeper. Good. If you want to deepen the stretch, you can bring your right hand to the head, bring your head up and left, dropping your ribs into the mat and further left. Good. All right. Go ahead and bring the right leg back up. Push your head into the ball, move your ribs to the left or to the right. Think of your right hip as reaching forward. It's going to significantly deepen the stretch. Bring the right knee across toward the left knee. Good. If you want to open your ribs more, reach back. That'll give you a little more room in the hips. And then use your serratus to bring it up, ribs drop into the mat. Bring that right leg back up. Should be a pretty decent stretch in the hip. Go ahead and take that foot out of the stretch. Good. Bring your other foot back. Right foot all the way back into the stretch. Or if you're doing the more intermediate way, you bring the right foot next to the bolster, drop the knee forward and work on tucking the toes back. Okay? Once your leg is there, bring your ribs over to the right first. Drop your left foot open to the left and your foot's going to turn out too. If you can't let it rest into your stretch, you may need to put something under it so that your leg feels that there's a boundary there and it can release. Because otherwise you may not be able to release. If you can just release into your stretch, then that's fine too. If you're really tight, you probably can't. Okay, the weight of this leg dropping down lifts this hip a little bit. Don't squeeze your right glute. Sink your low belly back. If you want to deepen the stretch, you can take both hands to the head and bring the head up, or you can just bring your left hand to your head. Bring your head up and your ribs to the right by dropping your left shoulder blade down, which pushes your ribs over to the right if you like. Breathe. Let your left hip and toes release. Good. And then slowly bring that left leg back up. Bring your ribs back to the middle or even over to the left. Okay, lift your outer left foot. Bring the hip forward. So now it feels like your right low belly is pulling back. Left hip is going forward. If you need more room, you can bring the arms up and back to accomplish that. Serratus, bring it back up. And roll it back up. Good. Keep going hips. Yeah, take that leg out from underneath. There you go. Pull your bolster to you. All the way up to the hips. Ball is back far enough so it's just under the head and neck. Move back up on my mat a little bit. Okay. And you should have your eyes gazing forward. So if it's an 8-inch diameter ball, it's pretty much the size of the back of the neck and head, and it's really making your head point forward. You can't look at the ceiling anymore without really pushing the back of the head into the ball. That's when you know you got it in the right place. Okay? Keeping that, let's go ahead and release your legs over the bolster. Or if you want a bigger stretch, you can take Supine Konasana, soles of the feet together on top of the bolster. Okay? Then bring your arms up. Think of dropping your chin down. Make sure your ball stacked far enough so your chin can drop and try to reach into that notch between the shoulder blades, or between the collarbone. Drop your shoulder blades down to the mat. Even the upper part of the shoulder blade near the cervical spine. Your hands should be right over your forehead so the weight of the hands help you drop there. And slowly take the arms back. Pushing into the back of the neck a little bit, you'll feel your ribs open more. Sink your low belly a little. Tailbone is under, ribs are open. Inhale. Your ribs should open, sternum coming more to the chin. And then slowly drag the arms up, try not to exhale yet. Use your serratus from underneath, neck back, spine back, thoracic spine, serratus pulling, shoulder blades around the sides very slowly. Once arms are up, let the ribs drop back into the back. Good. Let's do that again. Slowly take the arms back, keep shoulders dropping. Take the arms back, the serratus underneath, kind of resist that descent. Nothing's pulling arms back. Chin back, neck long, pushing the neck into the ball helps open the ribs more. Sink your low belly, inhale. Exhale, really reach the arms. One more breath, inhale, open the ribs. As you exhale, try to reach arms further and drop ribs softly by closing them. Keep exhaling so you feel the natural draw in the ribs. No tucking hips, don't tighten your low back. One more breath, inhale, ribs open. feel the soft draw on the inside of the ribs. Reach the arms away from the ribs as they drop. Inhale, opening. Keep the ribs open. Use your serratus to drag the arms up from underneath. Elbows lead. Serratus underneath the armpit flowing. Low belly sinking. There we go. Feel that space in the core. A little more coordination in there. Bring legs in. Bring your bolster all the way up to the hips. Hips lift up. Put the hips on the bolster. Try to squeeze your butt when you do that. Just push into feet. Ball of the feet and heels stay down. Low belly pulls. Bolster should be under the hips. Think about your chin dropping in as deep as you can into the ball. Bring one leg in at a time. Good. Let's take your hands to the tops of the feet, holding ankles this time. So your hands came inside the legs, hold ankles. Inner spiral your arms so that the elbow tips point out. Elbows push out on the knees from the serratus, from underneath. You should feel shoulder blades spread wide off the back. At the same time, you're going to pull the feet up just a little bit and toward you. This should be dropping the pelvic bowl back or down to the floor and into the bolster. At the same time, chin back, neck back so your ribs stay open. Upper back may even lift a little. Good. Let's feel that pelvic bowl dropping while ribs are open. Breathe. Keep the serratus opening elbows so that you keep the ribs open. Good. Go ahead and bring the feet in a little closer. And then go ahead and flatten feet together. Try to interlace fingers around the feet. Pull the feet to you. You can even wrap the hands all the way around and pull the feet to the sternum, knees next to the body. Chin back, neck back, ribs staying open. And then let that go. Good. Go ahead and bring your hands inside the feet like we usually do. You can either go hands to the tops of the ankles, happy baby the regular way, or hands under the heels in a little bit deeper way. Turn your feet out and make sure your heels reach up a little bit so that you've got something to hold on to with hands. Keep hands strong, but not chest. You're not squeezing chest and shoulders. Drop the right leg forward. Try to find your mat. Tip over to the left first so that gravity is helping drop that left knee. Then slide the right leg out in front of you. Keep it as low to the mat as you can when it lifts up. Drop your right arm back. Chin back, neck back, into the ball. Breathe. Use right quad to bring the bottom of the leg up even with the top of the leg and then reach the hip further. Keep dropping chin back, neck back. Now notice if you're really pulling your left shoulder blade down and push your ribs right. You can do that. It will open the right side a little more. Try to open both sides. Let that left shoulder slide back up the ribs come back more to the middle, more to the left. And reach your right foot a little more to the right. Feel the low belly sink a little deeper. Now bring the right arm up from the serratus, from underneath. Elbow point leads. Feel like it's coming up from the armpit. Hand is soft and loose. Chin back, neck back. Keeping your serratus soft and engaged, can you reach your hip further forward? It's a tough one. Good. Then bend the knee, start bringing the leg up from the low belly, from the inside of the pelvic bowl there. And hand underneath the leg, up the heel. Good. Go ahead and let go of the other leg. Before you drop it too far forward, tip right a little bit. So that right shoulder, right knee, drop a little more toward the mat. Then slide left foot forward along the mat. Take it as far forward as you can. Don't let your right foot collapse forward. It's got to stay open. Left arm back. Let the left shoulder blade slide up the side of the ribs. Keep the elbow point facing the ceiling. Everybody, don't let your arm turn out. Turn the arm in so elbow point faces the ceiling. Palm facing in. Okay, so let's check that out. Bring your hand up to the ceiling. Palm facing in. Shoulder blade draws down the ribs a little. Reach the arm up and touch. Shoulder blade sliding up to the ceiling. As you take the arm back, keep that rotation in your arm. So elbow point is still aimed up at the ceiling. That will open your ribs more ultimately. Good. Okay, stay tipped to the right. Now pull your right shoulder blade down, pushing ribs left a little bit further. That'll open the hip more. Then come back to the center with your ribs. Lift that right shoulder up a little bit. Think of that shoulder head rolling forward so the ribs open. Bring your left leg a little back. More linear opening in the hips. Release the back of that right hip too. Use left serratus. Slowly bring the arm up from underneath. Feel a broadening across the collarbone and chest as you do that. Sink the belly to the serratus. Good, and then bring your knee back in. How we doing? Yeah, good? Okay. Grab your yellow strap. Or whatever color your strap is. Grab your TheraBand. Should be a pretty strong one. If you lost your bolster, pull it hard. Should be a pretty strong TheraBand because we're not using it just to strengthen and pull against. We're going to use it to hold up the weight of the legs. Okay. So feed into your TheraBand. Line up the ends of it so that they're pretty much even. Then you're going to find out how high you can reach by reaching up. Just easy, just hands in the air. Then spread your shoulder blades off the back of the ribs. However much range of motion you have in the shoulders, that's how much higher you get to reach. Hold on to your strap right there. Squeeze the pinky side of the hand into your strap. And then go ahead and let your legs drop forward a little bit. It's not a tuck, squeeze glutes and push forward. It's a release your hips, unlock your knees, and let the weight of the legs drop forward. The shoulders are released too, so they're kind of counterbalancing each other. They're just both loose. Okay? Inhale. As you exhale, feel your low back flatten across your pad a little more. Look at what we've been doing with raising sitting bones, but now you're going to reach sitting bones forward a little bit. And at the same time, try to reach heels up a little bit. So you're lengthening hamstrings. Sinking the pelvic floor, rule of London out of the front of the hips. Inner spiral arms first, and then let legs start to drop forward. Keep the inner spiral so the back of the hands face in, and then really hollow shoulders up. Collarbone up and sink the core as your legs drop forward. They're literally just hanging. You're not pushing the strap at all. That would be a contraction of the glutes and the back body, which we don't want. Keep the belly sinking out of the front of the hips. Inner spiral arms, back of the hands facing in, shoulders up, collarbone up, chin down. To come up, you're going to lift hands first. Feel the shoulders work a little, then feel low belly sink. Keep your hips totally released. Just a little bit of low belly. Once your legs are at 90 degrees right above the floor, outer spiral arms so palms face you. Don't pull so hard anymore. Actually, don't pull at all. Let gravity pull the legs toward you, releasing your back to find your stretch. So I'm not pulling anymore. I'm just letting my legs rest. Mine are going to rest all the way to my head just because I want to stretch it. Yours are going to rest into wherever your back stops them, okay? And you're going to let yourself stretch. Let more weight fall into your red ball. Totally letting the back release and stretch. Breathe. Inhale, soft foot long. Unlock your knees so your back will release more. Now reach your right heel a little further past the toes. Think of pulling toes back from the muscles in the top of the shin, front of the lower leg. Switch. There. Switch. Switch. Good. Take your right leg out of the strap. Keep your left leg back. Bring your right leg all the way forward. Jump. Keep pulling the left leg into you really soft and keep reaching the right leg forward. Take your left leg out to the left. Try to get all the way to the point where your left elbow can rest on the mat. Keep the knee outside the foot though. Don't let the knee roll in and your foot go further out than the knee. Knee has to be rolled out. Okay. If you're easy in this stretch, you can straighten the leg a little further and reach the heel away. Reach the other leg forward. The hips come apart more. Roll that left shoulder head forward a little bit, sinking ribs deeper.
What's low back doing?
It should be released. It shouldn't be doing much of anything. It's definitely not helping you pull forward.
It's not pushed into the floor, right?
It's in your bolster. Low back's in your bolster. It shouldn't rise off your bolster at all.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and bring that leg back up. Okay, now you're going to put both straps into the right hand. Bring your hand down so your tails get very short. I know, whoops. Oh yeah, because you took the foot out, that's right. Let your leg drop forward past 90 degrees. So you're about, I don't know, whatever that is, 60 degrees. Right foot's in the mat. You're going to take the right leg across to the right until your elbow can rest on the mat and let your hip drop forward. So it's not how far across you can go. That keeps your hip from dropping forward. Leg's got to be forward to let your hip drop forward. Then take your left arm back. Got that stretch in the front and back of the hip. Yeah? Breathe. Sickle the foot in a little bit so that your toes point toward the mat, and then bend the knee up to the ceiling and forward a touch, little outer spiral in the leg. That should deepen it. Okay, and bring your left arm up from the serratus. Then you're going to bring your left hand to the strap, put the thumb underneath it, pull the strap into you, pull the foot into you. Bring the right knee up, foot flat on the ground. Okay, you're going to try to pull that foot into a half lotus, putting the top of the foot right in the hip crease where the leg meets the hip and dropping the knee forward as far as your stretch will let you go. Okay. Bring your right knee in, if you can get there, and try to use right hand to hold on to the right knee. Pulling right knee in, drop left knee forward. You guys feel that stretch in the hip? That should be, you can't miss it. Okay. If you're easy here, you can pull your left knee in and hold on to both knees, keep dragging in. If this is really easy for you, you can bring your right foot across and hold on to it with your left hand, or you can bring that right foot on top of the left leg and go to full lotus, pulling knees in. Wherever your stretch lives, that's where you are, and you're breathing and being soft and easy, not trying to tear your hip out of its socket. Okay, go ahead and untwist whatever you got twisted up, so bring your right leg back to the mat. Good, bring your left foot out of that stretch, take the band off of it. How are we doing?
Good.
Is all good? We found some lotus? So usually with lotus, the hardest thing is that when people bring the foot across, they can't release the back of the hip. Okay, everybody stays tight in the hip and wants all this torque to happen in the knee. Okay, so if you're here where the legs come in, it's really easy to release the back of the pelvic bowl, and you might find you can get deeper and easier into your lotus by releasing the back of the hips. Okay. Let's try side two before you make a judgment on that one. Okay, put your right foot into your strap. Actually, let's put them both back in. We'll do one more of that, lowering the legs and using the core, and stretching the back. Okay, so you dictate where hands go by bringing the hands up, just easy. Then slide your shoulder blades up the back, up the sides of the ribs to reach high on your band. Squeeze with pinky side of the hand. Okay. And then your shoulders are going to release, so they'll hang back down. That puts some weight. And then your legs are going to drop past 90. Sitting bones are released. Think of reaching sitting bones forward if anything. Not too hard in your low back, though. I don't want a lot of low back. Your low back should be spreading across bolster. Feet should feel like they're just kind of hanging into your strap. Keep letting the legs drop forward. As you go, go really slow. Inner spiral your arms. So back of the hands face in. Biceps starting rolling in and down. And then your collarbone hollows up to the ceiling. Like I could pour some water in your chest and it would stay. Keep letting the legs drop. Keep the collarbone hollow. Upper back rounded in all directions. Low belly sinking out of the front of the hips. Your hands are stopping to the center. Your arms are staying up a little. Shoulder blades are wrapped around the back a little. Keep the belly sinking. If your back lifts off the mat, you're more than done. You've gone too far. Lift your hands to start lifting up. Sink the belly. Don't use any of your back. Good. Once the legs are at 90, you're going to spiral the hands the other way, so palms face you. Elbows reach forward a little bit, serratus forward. Let your back release. That means unlock your knees, unlock your quads, unlock your hips. Your legs are going to rest into your stretch, wherever that may be. Okay? Let the back release. This is to stretch your back right now. Keep your head heavy in your ball. I'm going to push the ball away and flex the spine by pushing your head back, chin up, chin is down. Breathe. Reach your right heel a little bit past the toes. Think of that right hip reaching further off the bolster. And switch. Reach your left heel a little past the toes. Left hip reaching. Right hip into bolster more. Switch. Right heel reaching. Think of your left hip trying to pull forward into the bolster. Switch. Left heel reaching. Think of right hip pulling forward into the bolster. Feel a little staggering in the hips. Now stay in the middle. Let both back of your hips release. Okay. Take your, where are we on now? Left foot comes out of it. Left foot drops forward. Keep the right leg into you. Let the left frontal hip release. Think of reaching your heel up. Think of your toes coming down from the tibia, from the front of the lower leg. And then turn your toes to face out, wrapping the knee out, hip forward a little. You know how that changes the stretch, moves it more to the outer hip. Keep it aimed that way as you take your right leg out to the side. That helps you keep the right knee outside the foot. Don't flex your foot too hard. Try to get right elbow to the mat. Left arm just drapes across the chest. Left leg is still reaching forward. If your right elbow can touch the ground, roll that shoulder forward. If it can't, you need a block there. Breathe. Chin down. Slowly bring it back up with the strength of the arms and the core, not the hip. Okay, bring your both straps to your left hand. Slide the left hand down the tail, up the tail, whatever direction this is to you, so that your tail is shorter and your leg has a lot more room. Drop the leg forward, past 90. It should be more like, 60 degrees away from the floor. Okay? Then you bring the leg across, hip reaching forward. That's your goal. Foot into strap. Elbow into the floor or your bolster. That's what's holding the weight. Elbows pinning to the floor, bicep flexes a little to pull the hand back. Right arm reaches back, your right hip is going forward, let your foot stickle a little. Don't turn the toes out, let them drop in. Good. Feel that stretch in the hip, front and back, little massage. One more breath here. And slowly bring the right arm up from the serratus, from underneath the armpit, elbow tip leading, hand is loose. Let ribs drop deeper once the arm is up. Bend the knee a little bit, knee rolling forward. Feel that in your outer hip more. Take your right hand across, bending left elbow, bring your right thumb under your strap, and then walk your hands up, thumbs underneath, like you're pulling in a rope, pulling in a bucket. Get all the way up to the foot, choking down on it with the left hand, bend your left knee. Keep your foot in the crux where the leg meets the hip. Try to roll the knee forward so more of the back of the foot is on top. Okay? And drop the knee forward. Think of the groin muscles hugging together. And then you can take the arm back. Chin down. Breathe. Think of your left hip shortening a little bit. Left low belly coming up a little bit to reach your right hip further forward. Use the right serratus to bring the arm back up. Let's see if you can bring your left knee in. Okay. And go ahead and let go of the strap if your foot's in there. Bring both hands to the left knee if you can reach and pull that knee into you. Let your low back release. Okay. Or you can just use the left hand. And take the right hand to the right knee. Pull both in. Let the hips release. If that's still easy for you, bring your left foot across. Hold on to it with your right hand. So you're in a log stacking with the foot, the left foot, that your right foot's in lotus. If you're still at no problem, go to full lotus. Cross that foot over the other, pulling both knees in, let your back release. Breathe. Wherever you are, you're breathing, you're soft. Notice any gripping muscles on the rope. Okay, and then let everything come out of that. Left leg is going to end up on the floor again. Right foot comes out. Okay, get rid of your strap. Get rid of your red ball. Yay, let's go really get to lay flat now.
Oh, good gosh.
Yep. So that's the neck stretch and a spine stretch for a long time, especially if you're not used to stretching that. How are we doing?
Good.
Okay. All right, let's bring your bolster up higher toward the back of the ribs more. Okay. And then keeping the bolster as high as you can get it, elbows on your bolster. The bolster should be high enough that your hips can fall off the front of the bolster. Maybe you can even get your tail onto the floor. Okay, so you're really forward on your bolster right now. Okay. Now bringing the hips up, you're going to use your feet pressing a little bit to bring your hips up to level. Keep left foot pressing, bring the right leg in and hold the back of the leg. Then pulling it in, bring the left leg up, hold the back of the leg. Okay, elbows are in your bolster right now. Bring your hands to your hips. Like there's somebody else's hips, knees drop in toward you, you're going to start trying to raise your hips up off the bolster. Elbows press into the bolster, and you try to walk your hands up your back. Keep your legs released. Don't straighten your legs right away, you're going to tighten your low back and you're going to hurt yourself. Shin and neck long. Keep your hands working up the hips. If your knees can touch the ground, let them. If you want to tuck toes and take plow, you can go there instead. Okay. And once your knees are to the ground or feet are to the ground, that's when you start lifting hips back up to the ceiling here. Okay, wherever you're at, slowly let your hips roll back down. Hands slide up the backs of the legs to catch your hips before they come to the down. Good. How are we doing? Yeah? One more time, if you have a different plow practice, you can take it. If you want to try this, you're going to bring these into you. Keep your hips up. If you tuck and use your core by flexing all the surface abs, you've created a wall of muscle. You can't roll. Okay, so this is the same thing we've been working on. Ribs stay open when the hips roll up. Ribs aren't closed yet. Knees come next to you. Then hands to hips. Keep rolling hips up. Ribs still aren't closed. Let the knees stay released. Good. And then if you can get knees to the mat, that's fine. If not, or if you want to reach the feet back, you can reach the feet back. If you can get to a full plow, you're going to lift hips to the ceiling. Shoulders pull back away from ears, lengthening neck. Roll back down wherever you're at, nice and slow. Keep the hips released. Bend your knees out to the side. Out to the side. Open, open. Then roll down. And come all the way to the legs. Good. One foot at a time to the floor. Push the bolster down to the sacrum now, to the low back. Good. Keeping the bolster under your low back, press your feet a little bit to drop the belly down even deeper. Cross your left leg over the right, bring it up toward your lows. Try to bring it as high as you can, and then bring the right knee in. This should be an easy spot for your low back to be released. See if your right hand can reach your right knee. And if you have to keep your other hand helping keep the foot of lows going, do that. Pull that knee into you a little deeper. And then let go. Switch. Bring the right leg across. Bring that foot as high as you can up the leg. Bring the left knee in. See if your left hand can reach the left knee. Maybe both hands can, and you pull in. Let the low back release. And let it go. Good. Go ahead and push your bolster down to the tip of the tailbone. Bring your knees back in. Let your left hip drop left a little bit. Keep the right elbow wide though. Keep your back of your ribs in the mat. Just hips are moving. Let the leg hang open, foot dropping. That left shoulder blade sliding off the back. So hips are separate from each other and separate from ribs. To come back, you're going to pull with your right hand. The right knee goes open. Your left hip will follow. Keep the ribs, back of the ribs heavy in the mat. Let the right hip drop open. Keep left elbow open, left hip open a little as that right hip drops away from the left. The weight of the right foot down creates a soft inner spiral on the right leg. You're pulling your left leg back toward an outer spiral. Sink the belly, chin down. To come back, pull the left leg, rolling across through the hips. Right leg is still open, right elbow open. Sink the belly. And bring it back. Push the bolster all the way down to the calves. You're not done. Okay. Alright. Now, you're going to bring the feet to the bolster, or to the floor, doesn't really matter. And lift your hips. We'll start with the left arm so you can see what I'm doing. Bring your left arm underneath your rib cage on the left side of the spine. Still stretch the back of the shoulder. Alright. You can bring your hand up the back of the spine, or up the back of the ribs as much as you want, bringing the hand between the shoulder blade and the spine. You can't take your hand across the spine over to the right side. So your left hand is going to stay on the left side. Take it as high as you want. That deepens the stretch. Okay? But you can't cross the center line. You can't cross the spine. Now don't go crazy here because we're going to deepen the stretch, right? So just take your hand to where you feel a little bit of a stretch, maybe not even. Okay? If this is a big enough stretch for you, just stay here. Try to roll the shoulder forward a little bit and then roll it back. If you can't move your shoulder, you're in too big a stretch, you need to move your hand down the ribs toward the low back. Roll your shoulder forward, roll it back. Okay. Now you're going to move your hips to your right, away from the bent elbow, as far as you can. Bring your left leg to the middle of the bolster with the groin facing the ceiling. I like to tent the right knee a little bit and pick the hip up and tuck it under me more, like I'm going to roll over on my side. It helps. Then you're going to bring your left leg across, hook it on the bolster, hook your heel on the bolster, softly pulling yourself into the shoulder stretch. Don't kill yourself. Bring your right arm up, slide that shoulder blade across, or up the ceiling, across the ribs, and reach across. And you could have stopped anywhere along those lines when you felt your stretch. Don't break your shoulder off. Okay. Turn your head toward the stretching shoulder, chin into the collarbone. If you need to deepen the stretch, you slide that right leg further across to the left and keep trying to work your left hip under you more. Keep turning chin further into collarbone, reaching the right shoulder blade further across. Good. Now inhale here. As you exhale, pull that top shoulder blade down, right shoulder away from the ear, pushing your ribs down into the bottom hand harder. Suck the belly back, rounding the lumbar spine. Good. Inhale, bring your arm up so your bicep is right by your cheek, reaching diagonally toward the back left corner of the room, like your hand is right above that left shoulder. Good. And bring your arm up and back. Keep your low belly in. Reach back. Open up the chest. And then slowly come out of it. Bring the foot back. To get your hand out of it, feet come to the floor. You lift your hips, slide the hand down the mat. Good. And then just very softly roll the arm back. And then forward. Make sure that shoulder still works. That should stretch and open the back of the shoulder. Alright, here we go. So, and the front too a little bit. Alright, side two. You're going to put your hand under the ribs. On the right side of the body. Right hand under right ribs. Keep it to the right side of the spine. If you want to deepen the stretch, your hand goes up the back more. If you want to lessen the stretch, don't go up the back more. Stay more toward the lumbar spine. Okay, once you're there, you've got to be able to move that shoulder and roll it forward and back. Otherwise, you're in too deep a stretch. Your shoulder can't roll. When you go to roll toward it, it's just going to feel like you're going to pop the arm off. That we don't need. All right, then you're going to move your hips to the left. Your hips can even slide a little left. Just make sure your hand's still covered. Bring your right leg to the middle of the bolster, groin facing the ceiling. Your left leg comes across. You can hook your heel on the bolster. Very softly pull on the bolster to bring your knee across. Okay. Bring your left arm up, shoulder blade off the back. Lift and turn the head. You can slide your ribs a little further to the left and your hip a little more under you. Bring your left arm across. Make sure that shoulder blade slid up the back of the ribs before you reach across. Keep turning your chin into the right collarbone, head to the right. If you want to deepen it, you slide your left knee further across to the right. Breathe. As you inhale, let your ribs expand. As you exhale, pull that top shoulder blade down the ribs. Left shoulder coming away from the ear. And think of pushing your ribs into the bottom hand deeper. Suck the belly back a little bit, rounding lumbar spine. Inhale again. Top shoulder blade down, top serratus engaged, pushing the ribs down into the hand. Then go ahead and bring your arm, your left arm up, bringing the bicep to the cheek. Reaching your left hand toward the right back corner of the room, over that right shoulder. Stretching and opening the ribs. Suck the low belly back. Chin in to hollow your sternum. Slowly roll the head open, chest open, bring the arm back. And then bring the foot back. Roll out of the stretch. Good. Feet flat, lift hips, slide your hand out from under there. Good. That'll stretch that spot. Roll the hand back. And then forward, make sure it works. Did you try it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah, I can't get very far.
Oh yeah, because it's not happening. Yeah. Don't go very far. You can go a little at a time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, legs over the bolster. Yeah, so that's a really deep stretch for you, and you can't even roll toward it to the point where you've got to constantly be trying to push yourself into the stretch.
Yeah, I couldn't get my leg over.
Yeah, if you can't get enough leverage to have gravity helping you or the hip is coming across, you're better off propping yourself into it. Put something behind you that's going to hold you there. The bolster, the wall, whatever, and just work that under you so that holds you into the stretch. That way you can let that release. If you're constantly trying to come across and this is so tight, you can't get any gravity on that side or any of your body that way, the leg, the foot, whatever coming across, you have to prop. Something's got to put you there. And you may not go very far because that's how tight you are. And you could also prop behind the upper back, behind the shoulder. The ball is probably not the best thing. The bolster would be better. And that'll keep you in the stretch. Okay? All right. Legs over your bolster. If you feel like you're not done and you need anything else, go ahead and take it now. Otherwise, we're getting ready to wind down for corpse pose. Inhale long and soft. Let the ribs open. Hold that air in. Soften your chest and sternum. Start letting the air leak out really slowly. At the bottom of the breath, feel the ribs softly draw in to empty the lungs. And roll your shoulders a little forward, hollowing them toward each other. Back of the ribs heavier in the back. And then let that go. Let the shoulders drop back, chest open a little, inhale. Hold the air in, sink the low belly a little bit. And then just let it leak out. This time, try to let facial muscles release. Jaw release. Let your eyes roll into the back of the head and the middle of the forehead where the third eye is. How that softens the eyes. Muscles in the forehead. Keeping eyes focused there. Let your tongue release, so it's not pressing against the roof of the mouth, not moving. Feel it spreading across the brow, the bridge of the nose, jawline, base of the tongue. Take 10 to 20 breaths here very slowly. Try to barely feel the air coming in and barely feel it leaving the body. Just feeling the ribs drop. Stay as soft as you can. Palms face in, shoulders drop, and then take arms back, chin down. Feel ribs open more. Stretch. Inhale. Exhale. Use your serratus to pull the arms back up slowly. Dropping the back of the neck deeper into the mat. Now tucking in the hips. One more time. Drop the arms back slow. Press the serratus. Keep shoulders down into the mat. So feel ribs open. You drop the arms back. Chin down, neck long. Inhale.
top arm to the ground right below the bottom armpit, push up, come up. Or if you'd rather roll up and raise your body, you can bring arms forward, out to the chest, round it up. Body come forward, lay over your bolster. Very good. Alright, you guys are all set?
Very
good,
good.
very good.
Wow.
Yeah, good?
That's exactly what I needed.
Me too.
Good stuff.